Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AFK Journey. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk about a tier list and characters that you should invest in once the game releases. Now, I did make a video that is similar to it. I talked about a couple characters that you guys should focus on when the game officially launches, but in this video, we're mostly going to cover pretty much all the characters that are going to be in the global release of AFK Journey and which characters you should focus on. And if you're planning on re-rolling this, I feel like this video is definitely going to be a great video for you guys to basically focus on a few amount of characters that can really carry your account long term. But before I get started on the video, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server, so if you guys are interested in joining, I'll post a server link in the comment section down below so that you guys can join up. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and hop right into the video. So we are currently 4 days away from the official launch of this game, and right now I'm on Pride Win, and we're looking at a tier list. Now this tier list is absolutely perfect because it gives us all the information as to which character is good for certain content in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and click the pyramid mode. I like the pyramid mode a lot better, but we're going to head to the table mode because the table mode basically shows what each character is good at in early, mid game, late game, and against bosses and PvP as well. So right off the bat, we have Cisia. Now I already talked about this character on my recent video, but this character, she is one of the best DPS units in an early game because of her attack speed, and she's able to summon a minion on the battlefield. She does crazy good damage, but I will say that against bosses, she will get power crept for sure against bosses because as you guys can see, she's like A tier against these bosses. And the bosses in this game, you're basically going to fight them in Dream Realm. That's what the bosses are called. You can fight them in Dream Realm, and there's like 4 different bosses right now in Dream Realm. And she's not the best against all of them, but she can deal some pretty good damage. So I would say that Cisia is mostly a PvE focused unit. When it comes to PvP, she is pretty good, but I feel like there's definitely other units who are way better in PvP. So yeah, Cisia right off the bat, she is one of the top DPS units in the game. Really good unit overall. Now when we move on to this next character right here, I'm just gonna call her Hugh. This character is basically a healer. She is a really awesome healer. She is one of the top healers in the game. When the game officially releases, she's going to be like the best healer that you can go for, because you guys already know in every gacha game, whenever the game releases, there's always going to be a group of characters that they're going to release right off the bat, and then in later updates they're going to release new characters. So she is one of like the standard characters that you are going to get, and she is one of the top healers in the game. When it comes to bosses, she's not the best option, but when it comes to like PvE content, like fighting against enemies and like AFK stages or in PvP, she is a really good healing unit, and she can also cleanse, which is also pretty good, because if we look at, I like how they included her skill in her entire kit, but I'm pretty sure she can also cleanse. I might be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure she can cleanse. So she's a really good unit that you want to go for. Really awesome unit overall. Now when we move on, we have Rowan. Now Rowan is like the best battery unit in the game, and the reason why Rowan is literally the best battery unit is because he can heal, and on top of that, he can restore energy. So Rowan, he's one of the top energy providers in the game. He can literally give your team a bunch of energy, which allows your team to use their ultimate. So Rowan, definitely a top unit, especially in PvP. And bosses, I wouldn't say he is the best against bosses, but in PvP and PvE content, the guy is insane. So you definitely want to pick up Rowan when the game comes out. And then when we look at Reiner, now Reiner, he is the best unit in the game, because as you guys can see, the guy is just S+ tier in everything. He's S+ tier in story, Dream Realm, and PvP. The guy is absolutely cracked. He is S+ tier in everything. And probably when they basically described this character perfectly. Now I don't have this character on my PTR account, so I can't really have an analysis. I can't really form my own opinion about this character, but Parwin did a really good job describing him. So it says Reiner is the best character who already works with just a single copy. He can switch positions between ally and enemy, disrupting the backline, best Dream Realm debuffer with EX weapon unlocked. So he is definitely a good unit to use against bosses, and once you unlock his EX weapon, you'll be able to do some crazy things with Reiner. So Reiner is definitely one of the top units in the game, S+ tier and everything. So if you end up picking up a Reiner, you definitely want to keep that account for sure. Now we already talked about Cixia. Now let's go ahead and talk about the top tank unit. Now Thoren is literally like the best tank unit in the game, and the reason why is because he can revive himself, and then on top of that he has life drain, and on top of that he literally does insane damage. So this guy is a very good unit overall. He has energy recovery. He's just a really awesome unit to pick up. So if you are trying to pick up a really good tank unit, you want to pick up Thoren, because Thoren is literally the best tank in the game. Of course, there are other tanks. For example, we have Granny right here. Granny is a decent tank, but if we're comparing both of the tank units like Thoren and Granny, Thoren is just 10 times better because he has that revive, he has energy recovery, he can do some insane damage, and he also has life drain. So he is just a really good unit overall, and he is really good against bosses as well. As you guys can see, he is literally S+ tier against bosses. He is an awesome unit to pick up. Now when we move on to another character, now this character is going to be an epic unit. Yeah, this character is going to be, I'm pretty sure, yes, this character, I think this character is elite. Yeah, this is an elite unit. So this character right here is an A level unit. So basically he's going to be like a 4-star character. If you're familiar to like Honkai and Genshin, he's going to be a 4-star unit, and this guy is one of the top boss units in the game. He deals insane damage against bosses. He's just cracked. Like, he is literally the meta against bosses in this game. So you definitely want to pick up Odie, because Odie is just absolutely broken against bosses. I'm literally using him right now against literally every single Dream Realm boss. He is just cracked. He is literally like just absolutely busted when it comes to dealing damage, because he has damage over time, and he's just a cracked unit overall. So Odie, if you're mainly focusing on dealing a ton of damage against bosses in the game, you want to pick up Odie, because Odie is just, he's just cracked. Now we'll move on to this character right here. She is a 4-star unit as well. Now she is a really good all-around unit, and the reason why is because she can buff attack speed, she can reduce the enemies, I'm pretty sure she can reduce their physical defense. As you guys can see, it says that she reduces their physical defense by 10% for 5 seconds, and of course the more you level that up, the maximum is 12%. So she has attack speed increase. She also has energy recovery, because it says right here, it's triggered immediately at the start of a battle and grants all allies 120 energy. So she can grant energy, she can grant attack speed buff, and on top of that, she can reduce the enemy's physical defense. So she is a really good unit overall when it comes to dealing damage and providing buffs to your entire team. So this character, really good. She is an awesome unit, and you definitely want to pick her up once the game comes on. I'm pretty sure if you pre-register for the game, you get a free copy of her. So this is why I 100% recommend you guys to pre-register, so that you can get a free copy of this character right here. Now there are also other great tank units such as Brutus. I feel like Brutus, he is the 3rd best tank in the game, because he can basically, I think he can like, yeah, he can basically reduce the enemy's physical defense, which is actually pretty good. He deals some pretty good damage, and he can also taunt. So he's a decent tank unit, but I feel like focusing on Thoren would be a better, that just would be a better thing to do overall, because Thoren is just better. But if you end up getting a Brutus, Brutus is not bad. He has taunt, he has physical defense reduction. He is not a bad unit to pick up, and he also has immortality as well. Once his HP reaches a certain threshold, he has immortality. So he's not a bad unit to pick up, but I would rather recommend you guys to focus on Thoren, because Thoren is just a better unit overall. And then when we look at Igor, now Igor, I am currently using this guy in PvP. I feel like Igor is extremely underrated. This guy, he is really cracked in PvP, and the reason why is because he moves around the battlefield constantly, and it is really hard to eliminate him. So if you're using a ranged unit, range units, it's kind of hard for a ranged unit to take down Igor because he just moves around, he jumps around, and it's kind of hard to stay focused on his character. So he is a really good unit to use in PvP because he can literally distract the enemy, and he has like a huge AoE attack, which is pretty nice. So Igor, really nice unit to pick up if you're focusing on PvP. This guy is insane because he is constantly moving around the battlefield, and he is just distracting the enemy, which allows your team to just do more damage and survive a lot longer. So Igor, if you pick up Igor, he is a really good unit to pick up overall. Now, when we move on over to other units such as Lucius, Koko. Now, I already talked about Lucius, so I'm not going to talk about him, but Lucius is a pretty decent tank unit at the beginning phase of the game. Absolutely amazing because he can provide shield to your entire team depending on what, like, he can basically provide an AoE shield to like a specific spot on the battlefield, and if your allies are staying on that spot, they will receive that shield. So he is a pretty decent tank unit to pick up. And then when we look at Koko, Koko was like the newest 4-star character, elite character in the game, and she is actually pretty good. Like, this character is really nice, especially against bosses, because she has increased damage resist, and she also has, I'm pretty sure when we look at her ultimate, yes, she has life drain, she also has damage reduction, aka damage resist, and she also has additional attacks. So she is a really good unit to pick up, especially against bosses. Koko, really nice, but I don't think she's going to be in the global release. Like, when the game officially launches in global, she won't be available right off the bat. I think she's going to be available in update, like 1.1 update. So you should definitely pick up this unit when she comes out for sure. And keep in mind, she is an elite unit, so it's not going to be hard to pick her up. And yeah, those are pretty much all the top units I recommend you guys to pick up. Now, Krueger right here, this guy is the best physical defense debuffer in the game. Like, as you guys can see, he is C tier in almost every single thing besides bosses. Like, he is literally S plus against bosses, and the reason why is because he can reduce the boss's physical defense, which is really nice. He can reduce it by like 40%, which is insane. So Krueger is a definite, like, he is really good. Now, if you're focusing on, you know, PvE besides bosses, I will say that he is not that good against, like, he's not that good in PvE content. But if you're focusing on bosses, he is a must. Like, he's like a must character. You need him in order for you to deal a ton of damage. So Krueger, you should definitely pick this guy up if you're focusing on Dream Realm and trying to do as much damage as possible against bosses. Now, when we look at other units such as Neru, now this guy right here, he's actually pretty decent. He can basically prevent your allies from taking fatal damage. He is not a bad unit to use, especially if you're using him with Shakir. He's a pretty decent unit. And we also have this guy right here, Damian. Damian is actually pretty good against bosses in Dream Realm. He's actually not that bad. He doesn't take any damage. He just goes to like the back line and he summons some sort of cart, and he just heals your allies over time. So he's a pretty decent unit, and he can also restore energy to himself. So Damian is actually not that bad. I'm currently using him, and he's a pretty good unit. And another good boss unit, of course, is this character right here, Marielle. I must have butchered that name. I'm just gonna say Mari Lee. It's really hard to say these characters' name, but as you guys can see, she is S plus tier, and like, she's literally S plus tier against every single boss, which is actually pretty good. So you definitely want to pick this unit up as well. Really awesome unit overall. And Shakir is actually pretty good because he has like AoE damage. Like, he's just a really good unit overall. I'm still trying to pick this guy up because he's just a really good debuffing unit. Just really awesome. So I'm definitely going to focus on getting this guy as well in my PTR account. But yeah, those are pretty much all the top units you guys should definitely focus on. You should focus on Thoren, Rowan, this healer right here, Shakir, Viperian. Viperian is also pretty good if you pair him up with Shakir. Really good unit to use. Smokey and Murky. I almost forgot these two characters. These two characters are absolutely cracked because they can provide energy to your team. And on top of that, he heals, and he can buff. So this guy is really good. Smokey is a really nice unit to pick up. As you guys can see, he is really good against bosses, so you definitely want to pick up Smokey for sure. So there are like a lot of units that you guys should definitely look out for when the game releases, but the top units for sure are Krueger. Krueger is absolutely cracked against bosses, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, this character right here, really nice. Cixia, Smokey, Odie. Really, like, Odie is like the best damage dealer against bosses. And we also have Rowan, energy provider. Reiner, just the best unit overall. And we also have Thoren. So those were basically all the characters I wanted to talk about. And Vala is not going to be available until the 1.1 update, so she's not going to be available in the official release of the game, but she is currently available in the PTR, and I do have her, and she is a pretty good unit overall. But is she better than Cixia? I don't think so. I think Cixia is still better because Cixia just has good crowd control, and she has good AoE attack. She's just a really good unit overall. So yeah, these are all the characters that, like, all the characters I just talked about. They are really good, and of course there are multiple other characters who are pretty good as well, but I feel like the characters that I just talked about, they are just good overall against bosses, PvP and PvE as well. So I hope this video is able to help you guys out. We are currently 4 days away, so make sure you guys are getting yourselves ready, and I'm going to drop a lot more videos on AFK Journey the closer we get to the global release, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys pre-register, because there are currently 4 days left, so you don't want to miss out on the amazing rewards. But anyways, I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.